What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing an Odion Winged Dragon of Ra deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful deck that can easily summon out the Winged Dragon of Ra to OTK your opponent. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 2 copies of the Winged Dragon of Ra. This card is an amazing 2-of in the build. It has a great effect that it cannot be special summoned. It requires 3 tributes to normal summon this card, and it cannot be normal set. This card's normal summon cannot be negated, and also when it's normal summon, cards and effects cannot be activated. And when this card is normal summon, you can pay life points. You only have 100 left, and this card gains attack in events equal to the amount of life points paid, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use to make this card absolutely massive, especially when you combine it with Ancient Champ, which is so cool. We made a single copy of Sphere Mode. Sphere Mode is great as a 1-of in the build to be able to use alongside the Winged Dragon of Ra. You can actually tribute 3 of your opponent's monsters to be able to summon this card to their side of the field, and in the follow-up we get this card back so we can summon out the Winged Dragon of Ra. We then made a single copy of Immortal Phoenix. Immortal Phoenix is a great combo piece in the deck and a really good 1-of in this build. We then play 3 copies of the Man with the Mark. The Man with the Mark is literally Odion, and it's so cool to be able to play this card in this build. And this card has the effect that if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually take 1 Temple of the Kings or a spell or trap card that mentions it from the deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, grabbing the exact card you need off this card's effect. This card also has the ability, while you control a Temple of the Kings, this card and Apopus monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle by card effects, and also Temple of the Kings that you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, giving you some protection for your field spell. We then play 3 copies of Anubis the Last Judge. Anubis is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card can literally search the Man with the Mark from your deck to your hand. And you can also summon this card back from the graveyard, which is such a cool effect for this card to have. Also recycling some of your resources, which is insane. This card is such a powerful card and definitely a 3-of in the build. We then play 2 copies of Merciless Scorpion of Serket. Merciless Scorpion is really good as a 2-of in the build because this card has a great effect, and it cannot be a normal summoner set. It must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing a level 10 or higher monster from your hand or deck while you control Temple of the Kings, which is great because you can actually banish the Winged Dragon of Ra from the deck so you can bring it back with Dangers of the Divine, which is amazing to be able to do. This card also has a really cool ability that once returned during your main phase, you can actually add 1 Temple of the Kings or a spell card that mentions it from your deck to your hand, and at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the destroyed monster's original attack points, having a pop monster on the field and make this card massive. We've made a single copy of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Lord of the Heavenly Prison is great as a 1-of in the build because this card is Search Wall of Gallant Granite and can actually protect your back row, while also helping you get to the exact spell or trap card that you need. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3-of in the build, so you can use this card to make your opponent not be able to touch the deck, which is so cool, and stop them from searching. We then play 2 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is really good as a 2-of to help you break your opponent's board, and it's an awesome card in the deck that you can use with your copy of Merciless Scorpion by banishing this card to summon out Merciless Scorpion, which is so cool. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is definitely a 1-of in the build because this card is awesome to help you search out your copy of your field spell. Then make a single copy of Defense of the Temple. Defense of the Temple is great as a 1-of in the build because this card actually helps us fusion summon into our Serket fusion monster with the ability that you can actually fusion summon an Earth fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. And if you use a monster you control that mentions Temple of the Kings, you can also use face-up monsters your opponent controls as as material, basically being like a super poly, which is so cool. Also, if you control a Temple of the King, you can banish this card in the graveyard to add 1 Dangers of the Divine from your deck to your hand, which is great to instantly get your copy of Dangers of the Divine. With my single copy of Dangers of the Divine. This card is a really cool 1/0 that helps us summon out the Winged Dragon of Ra, because you can pay half your life points and then tribute a monster to be able to special summon the Winged Dragon of Ra from your hand or banishment, ignoring its summoning conditions, and make its attack and defense become 4,000, but it cannot attack. Also, during the end phase of the next turn, return it back to the hand. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can actually choose one, the Winged Dragon of Ra, in your monster zone and send all other monsters on the field to the graveyard, which is a really powerful effect. We then play 2 copies of the True Sun God. True Sun God is really good as a 2/of in the build, because this card has the effect that when it's activated, you can add the Winged Dragon of Ra, or you can add a card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. This card also says that monsters except the Winged Dragon of Ra cannot attack the turn they are special summon, and once per turn during the main phase, you can actually send this card from the field or the Winged Dragon of Ra Immortal Phoenix from the deck to the graveyard, and then send the Winged Dragon of Ra from the monster zone to the graveyard, which is an extremely powerful effect to be able to use to help you bring out your copy of Immortal Phoenix, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Ancient Chant. Ancient Chant is very important in this build as a 3/of, because this card can actually add the Winged Dragon of Ra from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and if you do, you can actually tribute summon 1 monster during your main phase this turn in addition to your normal summoner set, basically letting you have an additional summon so you can summon out your copy of Ra. You can also banish this card in the graveyard, and if you tribute summon the Winged Dragon of Ra this turn, its original attack and events become the combined original attack and events of the monsters tributed for its summon, which is great to be able to do in this build, especially when you boost Ra by its own effect, which is so cool to be able to use this card with Ra's effect to make Ra massive. We made a single copy of Temple of the Kings. Temple of the Kings is a really awesome combo piece in the deck, as you can actually activate 1 trap card the turn it was set, which is so cool for this card to be able to do. So we can get one of our trap monsters on our side of the field, and it's an awesome combo piece in the build. We then play 3 copies of Treasures of the Kings. Treasures of the Kings is so cool as a field spell, because when this card is activated, you can send a Popus trap from your deck, and this card's name becomes Temple of the Kings while it's on the field. Also, once per turn, if you have 2 or more set cards on the field or a trap card in your graveyard, you can actually add a monster that mentions Temple of the King from your deck to your hand, which is great to add anything that you need from your deck to your hand, all of this card's effect, like your copy of Serket or your copy of Man with the Mark, which is so cool. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Verdict of Anubis. Verdict is really good as a 1/of in the build, because this card gives us so much protection that when your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control 3 or more other spells or trap cards, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then, if you control Temple of the Kings, which you usually will, you can destroy as many other monsters your opponent controls as possible and inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the total original attack points of those destroyed monsters, making a lot of burn damage to the opponent, so we can basically go for game with Ra on the follow-up. We then play a single copy of a Statue of Anguish pattern. This card helps us pop cards on the field, and it's such a powerful card in this deck that lets you special summon this card as an effect monster that's a rock type earth, level 7 with 0 attack and 2,500 defense points, which is such a powerful ability to be able to use. And if this card is special summoned from the spell and trap card zone to a monster zone, or if a monster is special summoned from the spell and trap card zone to a monster zone while this card is a monster, you can actually target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So basically every time you activate one of your trap monsters, you get to pop a card on the field, which is so cool, and it's not even a once per turn. We made a single copy of the original embodiment of Apopus. This card is so cool as a combo piece in the deck, and it's easy to get to with your copy of Apopus the Serpent, but this card is such a nostalgic card, and it's amazing to be able to play this card in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Apopus the Serpent. This card is really good as a 2-of in the build. I feel like 2 copies is really all you need. This card has the ability that you can just special summon this card as a normal monster that's a reptile, earth, level 4, 1600 attack, and 1800 defense, and it's still treated as a trap card, basically the same stats as the original embodiment of Apopus. This card has the ability that then you can actually set an Apopus trap directly from the deck, extend to the copy of this card, basically letting you set your copy of Swamp Deity to your side of the field. Also, it can be activated this turn, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can actually add a copy of Embodiment of Apopus from your deck to your hand, getting you the original Embodiment of Apopus off its effect, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Swamp Deity. Swamp Deity is really good as a 3-of in the build because this card is actually a negate. Because during the main phase, you can special summon this card as a normal monster that's a reptile earth, level 6, 2000 attack, and 2200 defense, and this is treated as a trap card. Then you can negate the effects of face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of continuous traps that you control until the end of this turn, which is such a powerful ability to be able to use. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really good as a 3-of in the build to basically just use this card to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Divine Serpent Apopus. This card is really good as a 2-of because you can actually summon this card without even using a fusion spell. With the ability that it just takes 2 monsters that mention Temple of the Kings, and it must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing 2 Apopus monsters. And once per turn, you can actually target up to 3 Apopus traps with different names in your graveyard and set them, and once per turn, if a trap card is activated, you can actually target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it, just like your copy of Anguish Pattern, which is so cool. And play a single copy of Divine Scorpion Beast of Surcat. This card is really cool as a 1-of in the build and a really awesome boss monster to be able to summon. It requires a copy of Surcat plus a monster with 2500 or less attack points, which when you use your copy of Defense of the Temple, you can actually use one of your opponent's monsters, which is really cool. This card has the insane ability, if this card is special summoned, or at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard and banish it. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the banished monster's original attack points, and also it can make a second attack during each battle phase and while a level 10 or higher monster is banished. We then made a single copy of Time Thief Redoer. Redoer is really cool because we actually get its awesome trap effect in this deck because we do play level 4 trap monsters in the build. We then made a single copy of Baguska. Baguska is really good in the build as a 1-of, just help us slow down the game just in case we need to. We made a single copy of Gallant Granite. Gallant Granite is really good as a 1-of because this card can search out our copy of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. We then made a single copy of the Final Bringer of End of Times. Final Bringer of End of Times is really cool because this card is actually a walking negate and can pop multiple cards, which is so cool. We'll make a single copy of Gustav Max. Gustav Max is great because you actually do 2000 points of burn damage to your opponent, and this deck can easily summon 2 level 10s in this build. We'll make a single copy of Double A Zeus. Double A Zeus is great to help you board wide the field just in case you need to. 1 copy of Typhon. Typhon's great as a skill drain for 3000 or higher attack point monsters. It can also bounce cards off the field. 1 copy of SP. Little Knights be able to use this card as a double interruption. 2 copies of Silver Hat Rabbit. Silver Hat Rabbit is actually insane in this build. It's actually set our copy of Anguish Pattern, which is really cool to set our statue to our side of the field off this card's effect. And also it can actually pop a spell or trap card your opponent controls when you summon out one of your trap monsters. And there's a single copy of IP. IP is just a really good option to make your copy of SP, so you can basically use it as a double interruption during the opponent's turn. And then finally, play a single copy of Link Spider, just in case we need to turn one of our trap monsters into an effect monster, so we can summon out a different card like our copy of Silver Hat Rabbit. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played an Odion Winged Dragon of Ra deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's an extremely powerful deck to play, and it's just super fun to be able to summon out the Winged Dragon of Ra in this build. So that's gonna be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.